So here we have the exhaust pipe and the muffler to my 1982 Honda 185s three-wheeler. In this video we're going to be destroying it. We're going to be using electrolysis to remove all the rust, and then we're going to be using this paint, which is barbecue grill paint, to give it its nice black color like it had when it was brand new. Well, let's get started. Now with this exhaust pipe, I would like to get that heat guard off there, but unfortunately these screws are really rusted on there. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just go ahead and electrolyze this and remove the rust, and maybe removing the rust that'll help loosen up these screws so I can get this thing off there. But in the end, if I can't get this off there, it's not a huge deal. It can just stay on there. It's nice and sturdy as it is. It'll just be a little bit hard to clean out underneath it. Oh well. So we have 110 volts coming into this power supply, which will be putting out 12 volts through here. Inside the tank we have the muffler, and we have these sacrificial electrodes. Now these sacrificial electrodes will have the plus, or the positive wire connected to it, and the muffler will have the negative cable connected to it. Let's turn it on and we'll see how much current's going through the meter. Only 25 milliamps. So let's increase that by adding some salt. You could electrolyze it with just regular water, but it would take weeks to do that. It's going up a little bit, or at least it was. Maybe this just isn't connecting right up here. Ah, okay, there we go. It just wasn't connecting. We were pulling 2 amps of power. We'll let that sit for about an hour or so and come back and it should be nice and de-rusted. It's been about 4 hours and it's kind of cool that it makes the outline of the muffler. Let's pull it out and see how it's doing. And I'm probably going to rotate it 90 degrees because I think the top part and the bottom part probably aren't being electrolyzed as much as the side parts. Ooh, awesome. But yeah, that top part's not being electrolyzed as much as the sides. Looks like it still needs a little more work. So I'm going to move it over. Looks like this could probably go for a lot longer. It's the next day, and this has been sitting for about 12 hours or so. Plenty of time to electrolyze. And it's really changed the consistency of the electrolyte. I would have assumed there'd be like a thick broth of foamy, rusty stuff on the top, but I guess not. Well, let's take this out and wash it off. sprayed off all the rust particles, and as you can see, it's getting pretty clean. And it looks like there's, whoa, looks like there's a hole in here that should be poked so I can let the water out. Well, I think that turned out quite nicely. There are some areas where it rusted pretty heavily, like over here. This part rusted terribly. There's even one place where it actually rusted through. Right there. But oh well, that's kind of an insignificant part. Most of the main parts that need to be strong are strong. And actually on the side there was this. I didn't even notice this before when they had the rust on it. It's kind of nice that it turned out this nice of quality. And over here's some more model numbers and stuff. Kind of hard to see though. But the thing I have to do now is paint it because flash rust will set in. I've had things cover in rust in like 5 minutes. And actually the parts that I started with are already starting to rust again. They're getting kind of tarnished. So let's go ahead and paint it. Get this. Set up my painting table. I think that turned out really wonderfully. This is just the first coat. I'll probably put like 2 or 3 coats onto it. Now, I know a lot of people will probably be upset in the comment section, like they always are, at how I paint the parts. But you know what? I really don't care, because it works for me. The paint, it's on there. It's working fine. I don't see why people always get so upset about how I paint my stuff. Like my push mower over here that I restored like a month ago. It's been sitting outside for like a month. Paint's fine. Looks fine to me. There's a lot of paint elitists out there. Anyway, ranting aside, now let's try to fix this part. Let's find a good place to connect on there. You know what? I think I'll just use my bench grinder to make it a good connection. Perfect. So I was going to connect to there, but I think I will just connect to here. That might be better. The big question is if this piece is conductive towards this piece. If it's all one big connected piece or not. And I might have to go through another thing where I do that in order to electrolyze that one. But there's a small chance that the rust will electrolyze away from underneath it, and then it'll make a connection and it'll start electrolyzing that also. We'll have to see. Whenever I put the salt into this tank, I put a little bit too much in there, and so it was too conductive. So whenever I run it on the 12 volts of the power supply, it pulled like 10 or so amps after a while. So I ended up running it off the 5 volt side, because then the 5 volts would only put like 4 amps through that, and that was pretty good. Well, for this part, I took out some water, and I put some new water in there to make it have less salt into it. Unfortunately, that mixed up all the blue stuff that was settled at the bottom, so we can't really see what's going on in there. Still is pretty cool looking though. That'll slowly settle down. Anyway, I have the multimeter hooked up. Pulls about 5 amps. That's pretty good. That's on the 12 volt setting, and I can always go down to the 5 volt setting if I want to use less power. I've probably put a good 2 or 3 coats of paint on this. We'll let that sit for a while. And this is going nicely, and we'll let that sit for a while. Well, it's been raining quite a lot here recently, and unfortunately, that means it raised the level of liquid in here. So now I'm corroding my alligator clips. Oh well, these are like $1 a piece. Anyway, so this has been going for about, I'd say a good 14 hours or so. And let's see how it went. Much different. Let's go spray that off. So I think that's clean enough. It's already starting to rust again though. The flash rust doesn't take very long, especially with this humidity we have. So let's go ahead and start painting it. I'm going to put some duct tape around this part so it doesn't get painted, because that's where it's going to be connecting into the engine. And then I'll have this around here so I can hang it up. Now I just take this little loop thing and I can hang it up to paint. While I was doing that, I hooked up my cables in reverse, so I was electrolyzing the connectors, because before they got all rusty. Looked pretty good to me. So here's how the parts came out. I think they came out pretty good. I wasn't aware that grill paint comes off pretty easily. It's like a powder. So even though this has had about 24 hours to dry, it's still not fully stuck to the muffler. So I'm thinking maybe it has to be heated up in order to finish curing the paint. That's it boiling off all the steam, all the water that's inside of it. I let these cool down, maybe like 100 degrees or so. Let's see, this... Yeah, it still does rub off. Let's see if it does on the part that got really hot. Yep. Oh well. Still is far better than what it was before. I say now that it's done, let's take this over to my dad's house and put it with the other parts of the three-wheeler and pick out what I should do next. I'm at my dad's house, and here's the exhaust system. Looks really nice. The paint is kind of coming off, but I'm thinking maybe it's just the outer layer. I don't know. Either way, it's keeping the rust off, so I don't really care. It's better than it was before. Much better than what it was before. I'm thinking the next part I shall fix is the chain. Well, hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!